Hello, welcome to SIGGRAPH 2018. Welcome to Post Perspective TV, and we are very, very happy to welcome as a guest today Andy Hayes. Welcome,
Hello.
Andy.
Thank you for having me.
Andy is head of effects for Framestore London. Framestore coming off a very good year with the Oscar and the BAFTA for Blade Runner 2014. Yeah,
and a runner-up as well.
times.
We had Guardians of the Galaxy was in there too, but we lost to ourselves, so it's quite good.
That's an embarrassment of riches there, Andy. No, that's great. That's a wonderful year.
Thank you.
And we are here to talk about a project that you worked on for quite a while and very deeply, Paddington 2. Full disclaimer, I love Paddington 2, so that's my version of geeking out at SIGGRAPH, so Andy's the perfect guest for me today.
Excellent.
How long did you work on the project?
About a year, really. I mean, there's obviously things that happen before it comes to us in terms of post-production, but our involvement was just about a year, which is about average.
And what makes this project different than some of the below-the-map?
Yeah, I guess we have a lot of shows that are quite spectacular in terms of magic and gunfire and superheroes.
Which is fun.
Which is great. It's certainly exciting. I think this just offers a different variety of work. It's the chance for us to really, certainly in effects, to kind of put our skills to try and help, not serve a spectacle so much, but really help build up a character. I mean, Paddington has he has a real life actor and actress family that he interacts with, a real life environment, and he's obviously CG. So our job is to try and enhance the realism and the believability and the fact that you want to have emote about this guy and you care for what he's going through. So our job is there just to kind of beef everything up and make sure that he is completely in this environment, and we're dispelling no myths that he's actually touching things and interacting with things.
Right. No, the believability of Paddington is what the whole movie hinges on.
Yeah. If you break that, you're going to lose the audience.
How does the live actors' interaction with the character, does that affect your work?
How did the live action? Well, the animation supervisors were on set, and they were certainly giving physical prompts to the actors. So if the actors were getting kind of squirted with some stuff or had paws rubbed around their face, they'd actually be there rubbing mush into their face too. So we certainly had a lot of physicality. That then obviously had to be removed later and then replaced with Paddington doing the job too. So and then us, if there was any kind of disconnect between the two processes, and we'd obviously go in and help add some bits as well.
Was there any sequence in the film that was particularly challenging?
Well, I guess Paddington, even though the work is sort of not as, like I said, as a spectacle. He does always present challenges, and even in the first film, he'd always want to get this furry character, so fur interacting with things like marmalade and water and stuff was always a bit of a pain. And this film was no exception. I think we had a challenging sequence come to us. It was it came a little bit later in the day, some changes in the story, so we had to recreate an entire Peruvian river. So that when Paddington is first introduced to his soon to be kind of parents, so that was a lot of work for us. We had to kind of creating water surfaces, and we had a very, very good reference from Peru about what we had to recreate, and so we had to actually match that and emulate it, and then again, so Paddington could be in the river floating on a log. So that was quite that was a big challenge for us as well.
That's wet fur.
Yeah, wet fur is always fun. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Any other sequences that were particularly interesting from
I mean,
perspective?
I think we had to try and add complexity to his environment. So even some of the things, hopefully, if we've done our job right, you won't notice it because you're not looking for it. But he's running through, riding a goose, I think it is, and he's going through some trees and plants, and then he's jumping from boat to boat to boat, and all of these plants have to bend and twist around him. We have dust coming up. He's jumping on boats. We replace the water. We have to do ripples from the boats, and the boats obviously replaced as well. And you're looking at a movie. I mean, I know it's there and I can see it, but like hopefully, but our job is somewhat invisible. So there's lots.
The better you do your job, the less credit you get for it.
Yeah, I think so. Really. Yeah.
In this type of film.
Yeah, exactly. So there's some small stuff there too, but which we do our best as we can to make as realistic as possible. Obviously, there's the big prolific sequences as well with the train chase at the end, and we're having to add soot and add the steam train and add steam train smoke, and that's all completely digital to try and obviously enhance the the peril of the whole sequence, and then obviously the train goes over the edge and into the water,
it was scary.
So almost a bit too scary, I think, for Paul Paddington. But but again, those are sort of more physical challenges. So there was a few spectacles in the show, but a lot of it was like getting the details in there to make it look realistic.
Great. Well, also, thank you for sharing that.
No worries.
While we have you here, also going to pick your brain a little bit.
Sure.
Because it would be great to get your perspective of the show this year. Have you gone to any of the conference presentations that stood out for you?
Yeah, I have. I mean, there's obviously common themes every year. I mean, some of the sort of more, I guess, boring stuff would be like the universal scene description languages, and what does that mean for me, and what does that mean for everybody else, what everybody else is doing. Questions about machine learning, what can computers do for us, how we're going about that. So not only looking at talks about it, but actually listening to people here and seeing what they're actually doing. Are they using it? How are they using it? So I think SIGGRAPH is really good for not actually doing the talks, but actually just to bumping into like-minded people and discussing the realities of what's actually going on. And obviously there's been a lot of graphics conversations this week as well, and announcements about that. So there's been, I'd say, like 2, 3, or even 4 different themes of sort of interest for me that I can take back to.
Really, it's sort of like a club gathering for you. It's really an opportunity for you to sort of bump into some of your colleagues that you don't see on a regular basis, or maybe haven't even met before.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the industry is actually not, like I say, the biggest industry in the world, and at some point everybody's moved around. I mean, I've worked in 3 different continents now, so I know people in America, I know people in Australia, I know people in England, and and we all move around, so it's really good to kind of come together and see and check in and see what he's doing.
That's great. If you were to pick sort of one through-line takeaway from the show this year that people are talking about the most?
Oh, that's a tough one, I think. I think for a lot of people, universal scene description languages seem to be what everybody's striving to implement in the software, what companies have gone off and actually done themselves. So that seems to be a big thing for quite a few companies.
Right. And anything, speaking of the vendors, anything on the product side you've seen where you're like, oh, that's a game changer?
Well, I think NVIDIA are kind of trying to up their game a little bit more. Quite interested in what they're doing. That has obviously connotations for all kinds of things: physics, simulation, machine learning, obviously lighting and rendering and so on, real-time stuff too. So yeah, I think there's,
Okay, great. Well, thank you for sharing your thoughts, and thank you for sharing your time. It was lovely meeting you.
Nice to meet you too. Thank you very much.
And thank you again to Andy Hayes. I was like Andy, and I paused on the Hayes. Thanks again to Andy Hayes of Framestore for joining us, and that's it for SIGGRAPH 2018. Thanks for watching.